Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's 7:30, right on the nail. Good morning, everybody. Post Tiki Hut. Post the Tiki Hut. I mean, I am so thrilled that we did this journey. This journey was started back in the battleground days when I was traveling with Sebastian Gorka, Dennis Prager, Hugh Hewitt, Brandon Tatum, Mike Gallagher, who, by the way, I'm going to be in Tampa with in November again. The Four Horsemen. I'm going to be on the stage with Sebastian Gorka, Mike Gallagher, Dennis Prager, and myself. The four of us in Tampa Battleground. Again, reunited again, reunited. I'm so excited about that. But that's not what we're here to talk about this morning. We're talking about post Tiki Hut. Man, we did it, man. 50 of us gathered around for 4 days. We had fellowship. We worshiped. We talked business. We talked personal things. We talked spiritual things. It was absolutely amazing, man. For the first time out, and the people were, I mean, friends. People bonded. We were on an island. We were up in a rope, in a tree, in a fort. We were in the loft of IMG. We were in the conference room. We were in the pool. We were in the ocean. We were on a boat. We were on stage. We were on fire, man. We were just on fire. We had football players, NFL Super Bowl players. We had godly men. I can't thank you enough. I can't thank all of you enough for supporting the Tiki Hut retreat. And I want to let you know right now that we're already working on our next Tiki Hut retreat, and it's going to be in October. So if you're on here listening right now, and you were at the Tiki Hut retreat, or you were not at the Tiki Hut retreat, and you wanted to be at the Tiki Hut retreat, don't worry. Don't worry. The Tiki Hut retreat is coming back. It's coming back to you. It's coming back to us. We're going to have it again. And those of you that were at the Tiki Hut retreat, you're going to come for a very, very stupid price, because you're going to come back as guests. You're going to come back as speakers. You're going to come back as testimonials. You're going to come back as helpers and staff. You know, you just think about the math. If we can do 50 people twice a year, that's 100 people a year. You are touching, each of those people are touching at least 10 people. That's, 5,000. It's like 5,000 people by the end of a year if everyone's touching, and it's compounding. We learned a little bit about compounding at the event, and that's how we're going to grow our companies and our lives and our families and our freedom. But the Tiki Hut retreat was more than just an entrepreneurial business exercise. Now, we ended with fireworks, baby, man. I got to tell you, it was absolutely amazing. We had great speakers, but at the end, we really hit it hard. We hit the business side, we hit the personal side, we hit the learning side, and we hit the systems side. Because at the end of the day, if you're going to hire me or let me coach you to build a business, I'm not going to just coach you to goals. I'm going to coach you to systems. We learned that. And one of the ways we got to get to system is first and foremost learn about our own identity, right? Our own identity and our habits to getting to these systems. And so what I wanted to kind of just start off this morning with was I wanted to share something with you, because today's topic is about your habits leading to either outcomes or your habits leading to your identity. And if you were at the Tiki Hut, you know that I hit this pretty hard, that I want our successionaires to be tightly grouped. We're building a community, and I'm going to fund the community. I'm going to pay for it up front. I'm going to do whatever I can do to get you in this community. I'm going to do whatever I have to do. I'm going to pay what I have to pay. I'm going to get you in this community, because this community is for you, to build you personally, to build you spiritually, to build you profitably. I know I can build you. Everybody's better with a coach, and I'm telling you, I'm good at my job. I'm good at coaching. I'm good at building people to make money, to be good at their craft, right? I'm just good at it. Oh, and by the way, if we do it at a personal growth level and we do it at a spiritual growth level, then we do it at a profitable growth level, then we are what we call functionally coached, which I want to introduce a new term to you guys because I think that this is something that we're going to definitely land on in our organizational structure here at Wired Differently. As you know, I talk about I want to be America's coach. Well, I do, but I want to be more specifically, a type of America's coach. I want to be a functional entrepreneurial business coach. I want to be America's functional entrepreneurial business coach, meaning that a functional means that I want to teach the whole. I want to heal the whole. I don't want to just take the business piece and section it out and say, okay, let's just work on business. And I don't want to take this spiritual piece out and just say, oh, I'm only going to work on spiritual side of things. Or I'm not going to come over here and just be a personal self-help coach. I'm not going to just be just that person. Because if I learned one thing about taking my daughter and with my wife through this whole type 1 diabetes thing, is that you can't just treat the symptoms. Right? You can't just treat the symptoms. You've got to go deeper than the symptoms. You can't just say, I'm not making money because I'm not marketing right. Oh, and let's fix the marketing. Well, then why aren't you making money now? Well, because I didn't fix the expense component. Well, let's go back and fix the expense. Well, now we got the expenses, we got the marketing, now the operational side. When they go back, we just keep piecemealing. When we come to find out that you're just no good at it, or that's not your strength, right? We've got to fix the whole. We got to look at the whole. And that's what functional doctors did for my daughter, Kara. They didn't just say, oh, here's insulin, take a shot 6 times a day. They said, let's figure out the cause. Let's heal the person. Then let's heal the problem. And then let's heal the whole situation. Let's look at it as a whole. And so that's what I'm doing with you. I am your functional entrepreneurial business coach. Yeah, I'm wired differently. Yeah, that's a new term. So let's own it. Well, let's do it, right? Come on now. Let me be your functional entrepreneurial coach. And so one of the things we got to look at today is something we touched at the Tiki Hut. Amazing. Some of you are jumping on right now. Tiki Hut was beyond what I expected. When we first started the Tiki Hut, we were like, oh, let's get 8 or 9 in here. Nick Walenda was phenomenal. Just literally rocked the house. One of the best keynotes I've ever heard in my life. Unbelievable. I was so proud of him. Man, was I proud of him. But the thing is I want to talk to you about is that we put all this together. We did all these things. We made it happen. And one of the things we talked about at the very end was how I was going to coach you. And now I'm explaining to you how to be a functionally treated coach. But one of the core things of being a functional coach is that I can't train you to make money if your person is in the right place. We got to get your person in the right place. And you got to understand that your habits of your person and your habits of your business and your habits of your spirituality have to lead to the North Star of who you are, your identity. And we talked about that. The North Star of your habits are your identities, right? So we need to figure out who we want to be in life. And I got a couple stories I wanted to kind of tell you to make this really real for you. The first story I want to tell you is about Kobe Bryant. A guy by the name of Carl Bryant is a mentor and coach of mine, and he is a brilliant man. And I'm going to be speaking in Cancun, Mexico in October. And I'm super excited to do that for the Focused Group, amazing software coaching company. And I was talking to him about my keynote. I was talking about my coaching. I was talking about where I want to go with some things. And I think we started with you have to know what you want in life to be successful. And he agreed, and we got to bantering back and forth. And I got to talking to him about identity and outcome and this and that. He goes, Todd, you're right on the right way. And he says, I love to coach on that. I love to teach on that. He says, one of the things you need to tell your people is the Kobe Bryant story. And of course, I'm thinking Kobe Bryant story. Oh my gosh. Tragedy, right? He goes, before the tragedy, think about the great man that he was in the game of basketball. And just isolate that, because I think you need to share this with your people. And I said, okay, what is it? And so he went on to proceed to tell me the story about Kobe Bryant and the power of your identity and the power of knowing what you want. So I want you all to just kind of think about this. And I told this story to Lisa. Lisa, if you're listening, we were out on the island, man, and everyone got done with the leadership scavenger hunt. And you were tired. You came in from Seattle, Washington. You're in a place where you don't know what you're going to do and some of your personal relationship stuff, and you didn't know where you're going to go with your company. And we just sat down and we had a great conversation. I should have that picture I could have pulled up on us. But we were sitting underneath the palmetto trees. There was a cool breeze coming through, and everyone else was kind of coming in from the 50 people coming in from all over this island that were working their way around finding ruins and destinations. Some people went diving into the beautiful waters. But I said, Lisa, I need you to tell me what you really want. I mean, because if you could tell me what you really want, I can really help you. We could probably solve some things right now sitting here at this picnic table. And she told me what she wanted. I said, is that really what you want? She said, yeah, that's what I want. Now that you make me really think about it's what I want. Okay, so now let me just tell you, we're not going to solve that right now, but I want to give you this concept of knowing what you want, knowing that this is what you want and this is where your identity needs to be. I said, there's a basketball player by the name of Kobe Bryant, amazing basketball player, became arguably the world's greatest basketball player at any given time. Him and Michael Jordan were vying back and forth. And we know Michael's tenure was amazing as well. But the story begins when Kobe Bryant was 17 years old, and he was a good high school basketball player. And the coach asked him, a TV reporter asked him, he said, Kobe, what do you want to be in life? And without hesitation, Kobe Bryant looked at the report. He says, I'm going to be the greatest basketball player to ever play the game. That's it. And the reporter looked at him. He says, I mean, that's a pretty big order, Kobe. Kobe looked at him. He says, I'm going to be the best basketball player that the world has ever seen. Now, if we just stop right there, that's really all we need to hear. That's all we need to see, because here's this thing about being an identity. This young man had already figured out by his father, himself, or God appointed, or however he could do it as a young man. He knew what he wanted, but more importantly for this conversation, he knew that his identity was to be the greatest basketball player the world has ever seen. And so I propose to you that if Kobe knew that at that time, I propose this. Did his life get easier or tougher? Did his life get easier or tougher? I'm going to let you ponder on that a little bit. He says, since at 17, he said, I'm going to be the best basketball player in the world. Was his life now getting easier or more difficult? Hi, Jason. Hi, Alyssa. Who do we got here? What do we got here? Let's see. We got Jason. Good to see you. Christina, you got home okay. Love seeing you. Love seeing you. Good seeing everybody. Luke, how you doing? Oh, man, what a treat. Tyler, what a treat. Wired Differently Discipleship. We got this. Hello. Oh, hello. This is a new person. Hello, my friend Fernandez. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Brandon, my warrior. Brandon Eckel finished level 5. Level 5. He's the only one that got to the end of the obstacle course. Of course, he's a number 1 in the world in cross fitness. He's an amazing man. Latane, it was the most incredible week. Thank you, Latane. Yes, you were awesome too. Debbie, good to see you. Good to see you. Luther, if I had a nickel for every person that asked where you were, I would be a wealthy man. A more wealthy man. Good to see you, Terry. Always, Abby. Good morning. You are a rock star. You did an amazing job. Amazing job. So did Kobe Bryant's life get easier, or did Kobe Bryant's life get more difficult? Kobe's life got way easier. Way easier. Some of you might say, well, how did it get easier, Todd? Well, I'll just tell you why it got easier. Because from that moment on, Kobe knew how to answer every question thrown his way, because his identity was out. His identity was out. He had outed his identity. He knew what his identity was going to be. His identity wasn't a goal. wasn't one habit. It was like a series of things the rest of his life he was going to do to become the greatest basketball player ever. So my prognosis here is that, hey, like every time Kobe got up in the morning and the alarm went off at 5, the alarm goes off at 5, and he asked himself, am I going to be a better basketball player if I get up now or if I hit the snooze button? And option A. Easy question, right? Get up and go. Go down to the breakfast table. Am I going to be a better basketball player if I have eggs, egg whites, egg yolks on rye bread versus a candy bar, a Danish, and a cream cheese loaded bagel? Staying away from the donut, right? But anyways, his number one answer was, of course I'm going to eat healthy. Easy answer. Am I going to be better at basketball if I stay an hour later at the gym or I go home and play Fortnite? Easy answer. And on down the road and on down the road we go, because your life gets easy when you've decided what your identity is going to be, because then you can re-engineer, right? Reverse engineer your habits to go to your identity. That's the North Star of your habits, is your identity. I mean, it's just that simple. I mean, a lot of us, we learned at the Tiki Hut retreat, are actually taking our goals and our habits towards outcomes, right? I'm right now, I'm guilty of it. I was like I'm losing weight, and all my habits were geared towards my outcome of losing weight. Do I want to be known as a skinny losing weight man? No, that's not what I want to be known as. I want to be known as a healthy, driving individual. I don't want to talk about losing weight and make everything I focus on. I want to be a healthy man. I want my identity to be a healthy man, not a man who's trying to lose weight. My identity needs to be my core of my habits. Kobe's identity needs to be the first of his habits. So all of his habits drove towards his identity of being a great basketball player. My habits of losing weight have to be towards my identity of being known as a healthy coach, a healthy man, a healthy looking individual. There's a little boy once who always would wait for his father to come home, and his father was a single father, and he would just he devoted his whole life to his son. Just, I don't know if there's any single fathers out there that have a child, and I'm sure there are. And he devoted his whole life to this son, and every day he would come home immediately after work, and he would spend time with his son, and his son just relished the time he spent with his son. But then he got into some work trouble, and he was having to stay late quite often. And his son couldn't get his father home on time, and he's with the sitter quite a bit, and this and that. And one day the father came home, and he was feeling, you know, a little, a little poorly about the neglect he's not been spoiling his son with attention and leadership and tutelage. He was a great father. This one went on for a couple of weeks, and finally he came home that one day. He says, "Son, I'm sorry, I have to work late again." And the little boy said, "Don't worry, Dad. I've got things I can find to do." He goes, "No, no, no. I wanted to give you a puzzle. I wanted to give you something to do. And then when you're done with this puzzle, you come get me, and I'll spend the rest of the night with you." And so the father thought he was being pretty clever, like he could create this difficult puzzle for his son, and they could put him in a room, and then he could go get his work done, and he could buy at least 2 hours because this puzzle was going to be difficult. So he looked around, he found a newspaper, and he saw he saw the a map on the back of a newspaper of the world, right? He's like, okay, so he rips that page out of the newspaper, and it's a big map of the world, and he folds it in half, folds it in half, folds it in half. He starts ripping, 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 sideways, and ripping, and ripping, and laying it on top, and all must have been 300 puzzle pieces. He says, "Son, go into the room now. Go into the room and play some music or something and put this world back together for me. And when the world's back together, son, come get me, and then we can study and we can have some fun and we can do some things, and we'll just have it going on. So let's go. Let's make some fun about it. I'm going to start. You go, ready, go." So the son goes, "I love it, Dad." So he goes, sits down, and the son is looking at this world. He's looking at these puzzle pieces. He's like, how am I going to put this globe of this world back together? And he's thinking. And I'm like, the sooner I get this done, I can be with my dad. The faster I get this done, I can be with my dad. The dad's saying, man, if the son takes enough time, I can get my work done. the son takes enough time, I can get my work done. But little did the father know how bright his son really was. So as the son laid out the puzzle and he started looking at it, he really noticed one thing that was sticking out very, very, very abruptly. And sure enough, within 30 minutes, the son goes back to his father and says, Dad, I got the puzzle done. I got the puzzle done. It's time for us to spend some time together. The father's like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? There's no way you got that puzzle done, son. There's just no way. There's well over 300 shredded pieces of paper, and there's no way. He says, Dad, I got it done. Come in and see. Father goes in there, and sure enough, this puzzle's taped together perfectly, and the son holds up the world just like this, and the father is just perplexed. How in the world did you do this, son? He put the paper down, and he said, Dad, it was easy. Son, how could they make it so easy? He said, it was very easy because I realized on the other side of the newspaper, there was an image of a man's face. And all I had to do was put the man's face together, put the man together. And when I put the man together, the world became right. When the man is right, Dad, the world became right. The father looked at his son and he said, well done, my son. Well done. You see, the father learned a simple lesson of ingenuity by his son, but the lesson is macro here, right? When we're right, the world's right. When we're right, the entire world can be right. If all of us are working on ourselves and our identity for the greater good of the world, then the world could be right. Because that's not an outcome-driven identity story. That is a habit identity-driven story, right? By habits, the son was trying to tell the father, if the man's habits are right, the world will be right. You know, if the man's habits are right, the world would be right. But if the man's habits are outcome-based, then the world can't be right. We have too many individual identity purposes going on out there, driven by outcomes, not by our identities. So what I wanted to share with you this morning was, I want you to understand, I'm going to break this down a little bit more down the road here, but I really want you to understand today, along with my Tiki amazing successionaires, man. You guys are awesome. I want you to understand, if you can get the man right, the world will be right. You know what I'm saying? I want you to understand. The man right. I mean, I know that you know these things. And I know that I'm talking about men and women. If you get the person right, you can get the world right. If the person's identity is the target of their habits, they can get it right. But if the person's habits are based on only outcomes, then the identity comes after the outcomes. Kobe Bryant didn't want to be a man known for practicing basketball. He wanted to be known as a basketball player. He wanted to be known as the world's best basketball player, to be specific. In my story, I wanted to be known as a healthy coach. Not a coach trying to lose weight. You see what I'm saying? I'm not basing my identity on my outcomes of success or failures. I'm basing my identity on the habits that are driving me to become your functional entrepreneurial business coach. I think this is a great message. I think you're going to be great today. I think today is going to be one of the best days you've ever had in your life. I want you to ask yourself as we close out this morning, are you a person that works in a job? Are you a person that is known for your job? Are you the best in the world at your craft? Whether it's your job or your 1099 position. My man Harold Reed, he's known for exactly what he is and where he's going. Thank you, Harold. You stayed with me for 2 hours after the Tiki Hut retreat. We went on a boat ride and we talked identity. We talked prejudice. We talked racism. We talked life. Some of our identities choose us, and we either have to own them or change them. And Harold is an amazing man and made me a believer of human beings and the world that we live in, and I want to thank you that. 16 hours he drove straight home today. All right, you guys, listen, have a great day. The Tiki Hut retreat was amazing success. This is Todd Saylor. I'm signing off as your functional entrepreneurial business coach of America. We got it going on like Donkey Kong. We let it rip. Potato chip, I'm taking it out with fire this morning. Get it on today. Tomorrow, we're going to knock it out again.